it is a great honor and a great privilege to be in Ohrid once again this year. And I will try to be as brief and straightforward as possible. On the topic at hand today, 65 years after the Treaty of Rome, is Europe fully economically reconstructed and integrated? I think a brief answer, in my view, would be no. If and when the Western Balkans becomes fully integrated into the EU, I think then the answer could be yes. And when we talk about Western Balkans and the European Union, again, I think we should stop using the word enlargement and start using the word encompassment, because when we talk about, for example, now Ukraine and Georgia, other countries that we talk about the candidacy status today and the decisions on the candidacy status, I think that is when we talk about enlargement, furthering European Union towards the east. In terms of the Western Balkans, it is indeed encompassment, because we are surrounded by the European Union and members of the European Union. So it is only logical to receive the Western Balkans into the European family of nations as soon as possible. It is politically the right thing to do, economically the right thing to do. It is also strategically the right thing to do, and I think it should be done sooner rather than later. For our sake, but for the EU's sake as well. And I think at this point in time it is equally important, this should be equally important on our agenda as well as on the EU's agenda. Therefore, I would like to use this opportunity and this forum to once again invite our EU partners to start negotiations with North Macedonia and Albania as soon as possible. Again, that is the right thing to do. It is also important for us as Serbia, because the advancement of the whole region towards the EU is extremely important for the regional security, for the security and peace in the region, for the stability and for the prosperity of the region, political as well as economic. So we give, as Serbia, we give full 100% support to all of our partners in the region to proceed with negotiations at greatest possible pace. This also includes, obviously, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now, on the economic front, I would say that for Serbia, the two key utmost priorities are the cooperation, economic cooperation and collaboration with the European Union, and the economic collaboration with our partners from the region. Why? Well, a little bit more than 65% of our trade and investment is with the EU, and about 17% is with the region. And this makes up 82% of our trade and investments, making the EU plus the region the most important partners for Serbia, our economy, our growth, our sustainability, and sustainability of everything that we are doing right now. So, again, I think leaving perceptions aside, I think it's clear that the EU and the region is where our heart lies and where our interests lie, both politically and economically. Now, to simplify things, if I need to focus on two things to foster greater economic cooperation in the region, and that with the EU, certainly one is the connectivity agenda as defined within the Berlin process. So building highways, high-speed railways to connect people, connect economies, and enable the Western Balkans or the southeast part of Europe to be as well connected as possible. The second focus is the Open Balkans Initiative. On the infrastructure front, we have built the highways to North Macedonia and to Bulgaria, Corridor 10. We are currently building the highway to Sarajevo, and we are starting the highway to Montenegro. We are building the high-speed railway to Hungary and continuing with the projects that will connect the entire region. In terms of energy diversification obviously is one of the key priorities right now. Serbia is about to get the new government, and I can tell you today that whoever is going to be the prime minister in the new government, one thing is for sure, that the number one priority of the new government is going to be energy. Rethinking our energy mix, investing into energy diversification, and speeding up the green energy transition. It's going to remain a absolute key priority in the next 4 to 5 years. In that respect, again, the region plays instrumental role, extremely important for all of us to increase our energy independence and energy sustainability. For us, Serbia, the most important project is gas interconnector to Bulgaria to connect to LNG terminals in Greece. And we have started building it in February this year with a huge support from the EU. As much as 50% of the entire project is financially covered by the EU, so I thank our friends and partners from the EU for that support. We are now thinking about the interconnector to North Macedonia and several other projects, as well as better connecting our overhead power lines, the transmission systems, in order to balance out the renewable energy much better and much cheaper. So it's best for our economies and for all of our citizens. But again, unless we have a better connected, stronger region, it will be more difficult and more expensive for all of us. Open Balkans. Economically, it's an enormously important project. If everyone from the world, from the Western Balkans joins the project, and I use this opportunity again to invite everyone to join, I think that can impact our economies by increasing our overall GDP by more than 7%. And that is incredible potential. That is really a unique opportunity. If we stay as we are right now between Albania, North Macedonia, and Serbia, it can go from 1 to 3%. But I do hope that others will recognize the potential and join the Open Balkans. I think it is also extremely important politically. Politically, because it will give a signal to our partners from the EU that we ourselves can do things which will be required of us once we join the EU, cutting the red tape, basically having a borderless Balkans, enabling free flow of people and goods and services and capital. And finally, and to me personally, the most important thing, it will show to the younger generations, to the youth in this part of Europe, that we today, as politicians, can create a different future for the Balkans, that we can influence things in the Balkans and can give to them a positive signal that there is something that they can hope for so that they stay here in the Western Balkans. Now, just briefly on the political issues that I've been able to hear here during the Prespa Forum, not the least yesterday during the presidential panel from the presidents also of some of the EU member countries. We have heard yesterday again that Serbia should not be surprised by now more and more people within the EU clearly stating that we cannot hope to become member of the EU without recognizing the independence of the so-called Republic of Kosovo. And I can tell you that, again, we have here the situation where we are changing the goalposts. And what we are hearing, including yesterday, for example, from President of Croatia, or what we heard in Serbia from the Chancellor of Germany, is very different from what we have in our official negotiating position with the EU. Here with me, I have official accession document, European Union common position, chapter 35, other issues, item number 1, normalization of relations between Serbia and Kosovo. And I will point to you that even in this official negotiating position adopted by the EU, when they say Kosovo, there is an asterisk, which says, and it's clearly spelled out, this decision is without prejudice to positions on status and is in line with UN Security Council Resolution 1244 and the ICJ opinion on the Kosovo Declaration of Independence. And basically what it says, the official position is, and I quote, Serbia remains committed to the EU-facilitated dialogue, engages in reaching further agreements in new subjects, furthering the normalization in good faith with a view to gradually lead to the comprehensive normalization of relations between Serbia and Kosovo, again with asterisks, in line with this negotiating framework. So, in the official position of the European Union, there is not a single word about the need to recognize Kosovo. It says the normalization, and it says that when they refer to Kosovo, it's in line with the UN Security Council Resolution 1244, meaning that Kosovo is an integral part of Serbia, and the UN Security Council Resolution 1244 speaks about territorial integrity of the Republic of Serbia in its internationally recognized borders. So again, it's not like Serbia is hearing something new. We have heard that from some of the partners, but never officially from anyone from the EU that it's going to be a request for Serbia to join the EU. If it is indeed a request, then this negotiating position needs to be changed. So we know what we're talking about, it's in the official documentation. I assume that will be kind of difficult because there are 5 EU member countries that do not recognize the Republic, or the so-called Republic of Kosovo. So it will be very difficult to change this negotiation position. But it's either this, or it's what we informally hear that we need to do to join the EU. And finally, I would like really to thank our friends and partners from North Macedonia for always having the most constructive of attitudes and for just sharing our thoughts and ideas about what the future of the Western Balkans is, and certainly that it is sooner rather than later part of the European Union.